The story begins with a woman in labor about to give birth to twins, but her grandmother warns her that dawn is almost here, and that she must not give birth just yet. Everyone present thinks this sounds absolutely crazy, but the grandmother tells them that as impossible as it sounds, she has to hold on, because these children are going to be the ones who command the demon. Later, after the children have finally been delivered, a man stands and stares at them both with deep regret written all over his face, realizing that the children who sunder day and night have just come into the world. 16 years pass, and one of the twins, Yuru, is out hunting in the forest where he brings down a pheasant cleanly with a single arrow. After that, he heads back home on his horse where his brother Danji comes over to him, clearly annoyed that he has been out hunting alone again without him. Danji reminds him that if anything were to happen to him out in the mountains, there would be nobody around to come and help him. But Yuru does not think it is that big a deal since the divine guardians on his left and right are always there to protect him. However, Danji's concern disappears almost immediately the moment he realizes that Yuru came back with a pheasant, which means they are going to have it grilled for dinner. As they make their way back home, the villagers greet and acknowledge them warmly along the way, which shows just how deeply loved they are by everyone in the community. When they get back home, their grandmother immediately calls Danji over to help with chopping the firewood. But Danji is not in the mood for chores and takes off running as fast as he can. Yuru then asks his grandmother about Asaf, and she replies that she is doing well and carrying out her duty properly as always. After that, Yuru heads inside where he finds his sister Asa sitting inside a cage, and she welcomes him back from his hunt. From the other side of the cage, Yuru tells her all about his day and how he managed to catch a pheasant, and she is genuinely impressed by it. But Yuru is not too pleased with himself, saying he was hoping to bring back a boar or a deer. There has not been much rain this year, and Yuru is starting to feel worried about the harvest. He figures there is likely going to be less food to go around this year, so he is going to have to spend more time hunting to make sure their pantry stays stocked up. Hearing this, Asa wonders whether the adults of the village would end up leaving for the outside world to find work. After Yuru tells her that is a real possibility, she asks him if he would go too, and he turns back sharply and tells her that he would not, because that is exactly why he trained himself to hunt in the first place. He figures that if he makes himself valuable enough to the village, there would be no reason for him to leave like the others. He tells Asa not to worry because nothing in this world is going to make him leave this village, and that no matter what happens, he is always going to be right there with her to keep her safe. Asa is glad and relieved to hear that. Just then, their mom walks in to let Yuru know that Dara is here. Dara is seen upstairs trading with the villagers using goods he managed to bring in from the outside world. When the villagers ask him how things are out there, he tells them that the economy is in really bad shape and that there is also a pandemic spreading on the outside. When Yuru arrives, Dara just tosses him a ball meant for Asat because he knows full well that Yuru never wants anything for himself and only ever asks for souvenirs to bring back to his sister. Yuru admits that is true and goes over to trade the feathers from the pheasant he brought back earlier. After Dara leaves, Yuru and Danji get to work on the farm, and while they are at it, Danji starts talking about how much he wants to leave this village and go out into the outside world. He figures the outside world must be something really special since people who leave tend to never come back. But Yuru feels the complete opposite and says he wants to spend the rest of his life right here in this village. Danji assumes it is because of his sister and suggests that he just leave and take Asa along with him. But Yuru replies saying that being around him would only bring shame to Asa. Yuru reminds Danji that Asa has a very important duty to carry out. And when Danji stops to think about it, he realizes he has never actually met Asa before. Yuru replies telling him that it is because she is only permitted to meet with certain people and not with common folk like him. This gets Danji worked up, and the two of them go back and forth arguing until they suddenly hear a loud sound coming from above. They both look up to the sky, and Yuru spots what looks like white lines of smoke trailing across it, which he casually assumes must be dragon farts. The sound keeps getting louder, and Yuru recalls hearing something similar to it while he was out hunting in the mountains not long ago. They both start to think it has to be a dragon, so they begin getting themselves ready for a fight. Then, all of a sudden, someone casts a spell that releases what appears to be an energy pulse, breaking the village's barrier. They both look back up into the sky and realize that those white lines of smoke are actually coming from an airplane. And shortly after that, helicopters helicopters fly in and begin surveying the land below. The villagers watch the aircraft moving through the sky above them and have no idea what to make of it, so they begin to panic. Men in military uniforms are then sent in and begin cutting and shooting down every villager they come across without hesitation. Even Dara, who was on his way out of the village at the time, is unlucky enough to get caught in the chaos and is shot from behind. The villagers are still completely stunned by what is happening, so they rush to Granny Yamaha and demand answers. She tells them that their barriers have been broken through and that she believes their target is most likely Yuru. She tells them to find Yuru as fast as they can and get him hidden somewhere safe, so the moment they hear that they take off and start searching for him right away. Meanwhile, Yuru and Danji arrive at the village square and find it covered in bodies. After taking it all in for a moment, they both run back home, desperately hoping their families are still alive. On the way there, they run into a pair of soldiers who spot Yuru and call out that they have found him. But Yuru fires a couple of arrows at them, and he and Danji move in to knock them both out before continuing on their way. Yuru wonders if those flying things are actually dragons. When they reach the guardian statues, Danji mentions that his mom is most likely still working at the keep right now. Yuru starts moving some rocks out of the way and asks Danji to lend him a hand. And after a little while, a hidden shortcut leading straight to the keep is uncovered. Danji is completely thrown off by this since he has lived in this village his whole life and never had any idea it was even there. Meanwhile, on the other side of the village, the helicopters drop down a blonde girl named Gabby who seems completely confident about taking on everyone around her all by herself. She then lets loose her magic gobble technique, which cuts through each villager one after another with nothing more than a flick of her hand. Once it is all done, she pops a piece of gum into her mouth and pulls out her phone to get in touch with the ground squad, but to her surprise, she gets no response at all. That is because Dara did not die after all and managed to take out the entire ground squad all on his own. He pulls out his phone and calls Hana, telling her that they are going to have to change their meeting point because he believes Asa has shown up. Meanwhile, over at the area where Asa's cage is kept, a girl walks in dragging Yuru's grandmother along the ground behind her. She spots Asa inside the cage and looks at her with complete disgust, calling her a sick joke. She then stretches her hand out and releases a burst of energy that destroys the cage and tears Asa open across the face, killing her. Yuru then bursts into the room asking if Asa is alright, and the girl responds with a slight smirk, addressing Yuru as her brother. She tells him that she is the real Asa and that she has come to take him with her and that she is going to kill everyone here except for him. Yuru is left in complete disbelief hearing that, but he quickly pulls himself together and tells her there is no way someone like her could be his sister. He fires an arrow straight at her, but she blocks it with her magic, setting off a small explosion in the process. Meanwhile, Dara uses a pistol he picked up to take out any soldiers he runs into as he pushes deeper into the village. That is when he comes across Gabby, who has a demon with enormous teeth, and she is surprised that he is able to see it. Dara fires a couple of shots at it, but its teeth are too tough to be stopped by bullets. Then, while Gabby lets her guard down for a moment, Dara hurls a grenade that catches her completely off guard and pulls her right into the blast. Meanwhile, the girl claiming to be Asa is caught off guard by how large the explosion she caused actually was, especially since all she meant to do was stop the arrow Yuru fired. The ball that Dara gave Yuru then rolls over through Asa's blood on the floor, and it coagulates into a demon that reaches out and restrains the girl in place. Yuru's grandmother then calls out to Dara and tells him to get Yuru out of there, take him to the outside world, and make sure they never find him. Dara does exactly as he is told and gets Yuru out of the village. Meanwhile, while Danji is checking on his mother who has been wounded, Yuru goes rushing past in Dara's arms, which leaves Danji even more confused about what is going on. Shortly after, Dara and Yuru reach the end of the shortcut, and Dara tells him that they are heading to the outside world right now, and that they are going to start by making their way down the mountain. But Yuru is still completely lost and asks Dara to tell him what is happening. Dara says there is no time for explanations and tries to push forward and get them out of there, but it is already too late as they have been spotted and bullets start flying at them. Dara realizes they have missed their window to escape, so he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a green necklace. He tells Yuru to place it into the gap between the left and right guardian statues. Yuru is confused by the instruction at first, but Dara just yells at him to do it without asking questions, so Yuru Yuru grabs the necklace and runs over to put it in place. Even though Yuru is completely out in the open and within range of the sniper holds his shot since the orders are to bring Yuru back alive. Once the necklace is in place, Dara rushes over and slams Yuru's face down onto it, getting his blood on the necklace. With that done, the sniper no longer has any reason to spare Dara and lines up the shot, ready to pull the trigger. But right at that moment, the necklace begins to glow, and then a bright flash of light bursts out. After it fades, two golden beings appear in the sky and tear through the helicopters in an instant, sending them crashing down to the ground while Dara grabs Yuru and runs, and the two of them get away just in time. Gabby watches the helicopters go down and screams in frustration because now she has no way of getting back home. Even so, she can sense that someone's demons have shown up, and she finds herself wondering just whose they are. Meanwhile, after everything settles, two beings with red and white hair are seen standing on top of the helicopter. They take note of the fact that their master this time around is just a kid, but even so, they know that no matter what, they have no choice but to obey their master without question. Dara then speaks to Yuru and tells him that these two are his demons. That was episode 1. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen.